What's up guys? In today's video we're going to talk about replacing the motor. We're going to replace the motor. I'll show you a trick. Sometimes the fan will be completely stuck on because the fan's getting extremely hot, extremely cold, and it's a metal nut that's holding on to the shaft and it will really seize onto it. Instead of breaking the fan off, if you feel like it's stuck, I'll show you a trick I use to make it come loose most of the time if it feels like it's stuck. A lot of times people will pull the screen out and something will go in there, a pencil, a pen, a piece of metal, and it will land on the fan and break the fan and you'll have a loud noise. If you're having the motor go out, if you're wanting to know if your motor is out, a lot of times the symptoms for that will be you'll turn the dryer on, it'll make a whine noise as it starts, and you'll start noticing that more and more. Or after it gets warmed up and you stop it, you put something in it, it will not start. You'll press the button, it will just buzz. You'll just hear it go bzzz. And occasionally some people will test this. I don't recommend this, it's a little bit dangerous, but you'll open the door, somebody will hold the switch down, and then somebody will press the start and give it a little turn and it will start on its own. It will just be the starter on there will be wanting to go on it. It's got windings that will go bad on it. Another way, pretty much if that's going on, same thing. The motor's gone out, the only thing to do is replace the motor. So if that's your problem, this is a video for you. We're gonna take this thing apart and replace that right now. But before we get started, as always, there it is. Make sure the machine's unplugged, because we don't want to die. Here's the tools I used in this project. Again, I have them linked down in the description below. If you need to buy any of them, please use my links. It really helps the channel. All right, let's get started. Take the filter out of the top, sit it off to one side, and then we're going to take out these two Phillip head screws. All right, it's a good idea to go ahead and put a cloth inside there while you're taking the screws in or out so you don't accidentally drop them down that hole. If you drop them down the hole, you have to take the entire back end back off and take the fan housing, I think it would be called, back off to get to those screws. So true nightmare, quick tip, just throw a piece of cloth in there. All right, from right here, I'm gonna pull the back of the machine forward, push the front of the machine towards it, and lift up, and that will come up just like that. Or you can take something flat and put it right about there, about 1 inch in, and push and twist. And it'll do the exact same thing. I like the other way, it's a little bit faster. All right, from here, if you have the machine the right distance from the wall, you can just lean this back and it'll just support itself against the wall, but just be careful not to let it fall on you if you don't have the right distance. We're going to take out 2 screws and undo a plug. There's a 5/16 on this side, a 5/16 on this side. All right, from here, there's a hook and a square hole, and we're just gonna lift the front end up a little bit, get off of that hook. Same thing on this side, and it's gonna come right off. Square hole, hook, hook. Lean this against the wall. Now we're going to undo the belt from the actual motor. And then we're just gonna pick up the drum and take it out. Just move the idler pulley out of the way. When you go to put it back in, it's just gonna hook right there. And then you're just gonna lift up and it's in place. It kind of just falls out on its own. Just get it out of the way. From right here, we're just going to grab this with a pair of pliers. Some people use a flathead. I like using some pliers, and it's just gonna unhook just like that. We'll just lift this off. Unhook it from this side right there. It's going to be loose already. And that guy's off. Now the back one is very similar to this one. It's just really hard to see because it's on the back side. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just like that. And the back one looks weird, but it can only go in one way, so you don't have to worry about making sure you get it back. It can only hook on the front with it facing this way, so don't worry too much about that. All right, from here comes the trick. If you want to try it to start with, Make sure it's not just gonna come loose. Take an adjustable wrench, crescent wrench, and it's set on mine, shows me what size it's at, a little bit over 3/4. And there's a square nut right there that it falls into, just behind this blue piece. I'm gonna take the handle and lean it against that shaft, and from here, this is reverse threads, so I'm gonna turn these pliers, the shaft, clockwise. Just gonna lift up, and you see mine came loose. If it does not come loose, I'll show you the trick, and from here we can undo this all the way. But if it does not come loose, before you break it, a lot of times these will want to strip out that plastic nut real easily. You can drill a hole in the back. Right there, you can see where I've drilled a hole. That's a 1/8 hole with a drill, and you're just gonna drill just below the plastic, and you're gonna hit the shaft, and then from there you can spray penetrating oil. I like to use liquid wrench into that hole, and it's going to actually get all the way onto that rusty nut and bolt that have been seized together. If you just spray it, if you just take the penetrating oil without drilling a hole and try to spray in the front to make it hit the back, I've tried that and I've looked at it afterwards. It does not seep anywhere near far enough to actually get to that spot, but if you drill that hole, it will get to that spot if you fill it up a few times, and it will penetrate that bolt and it may come back loose. So that's my little trick to how to get it, and that is not actually anything but a neck that just goes over that shaft. You're not hurting anything, you're not gonna weaken anything by drilling that little hole in that. All right, so we put the wrench back on, we've turned it clockwise and undone it, and we'll just keep turning until we hear that come loose. We're ready to take the motor out after we undo this plug. To get to that plug, if you lift the front end up just a little bit, you can turn the motor. You'll see there's a piece right here, that nipple that falls down into a slot. So you're just gonna turn it up a little bit so you can easily get to this plug, undo this front guy, pull a little forward, same thing with the bottom, and then you're ready to come off. Ooh, the bottom's grabbing. And then from right here, sometimes it's a little bit of a workaround to get this out, but you can still get it out. There we go. All right, and we got it out. And if it's too hard to get that out, you can also take the entire back end of the machine off and take off the shroud that's right behind, or that's covering up the fan. And I recommend doing that anyway. A lot of times this motor will get messed up because something fell against that fan. There'll be a string wrapped around it, or a pencil or a pen back there, and you'll need to remove that and check it anyway to see if that's why your motor burned up in the first place. So now we got this guy off, we're going to swap out the motors. If you're wondering what type of motor you should have a model number right there, and you can look that guy up. And whenever I like Appliance Parts Pros, you can also look it up. The big difference between a lot of these motors is this shaft right here, the space. It's either going to be a little bit wider or a little bit closer. So make sure whatever motor you're getting, this space is the same. As far as looking at a picture, it's pretty easy to know, because most of the time this neck will be right against the bearing, or it's going to be out like this is. Now we're done. We're going to put another motor on it. This one had a good motor. We're just using this as an example. Put it back into place. All right, now to put it back on, we're just going to turn this counterclockwise until we get into place. I'm going to put this crescent wrench back on there, let it fall. We're just snugging it. And remember, it's reverse threaded, so we're just going to give it a nice snug fit, just like that. Not too tight. It's going to tighten itself as the motor turns. We're going to go ahead and put the plug back on. Make sure the bottom and the top snap in place. If one's slightly loose, you'll put the entire machine together and wonder why the motor's not coming on. It'll be because this didn't snap in the bottom. So we're going to turn that back, and you're going to hear it fall into place, just like that, and it'll be slightly snug into place. Again, I have another video if you're worried about the back end, where I break the whole machine down. Look for the lint clean out video. and we'll break the back end down and show you exactly how to take that fan housing off and clean that out. But we're just going to do this kind of in reverse order. I'm going to put this guy back in place. The back one's really hard to see. I'll hook the right side first. And watch, there's a sharp screw right here. It'll cut you. Alright, the front one's much easier because we can see what we're doing. Same thing, hook on that side, and you can actually, it's got this little bump right here, so you can just push this down with your thumb and get it into place. Just like that. Sometimes they're a little too stiff and you can't quite do that. But we are good. Now we're going to just put it back together and we're all done. Alright, from here we're just going to put the drum back in place. You got to kind of sit it on top of those rollers in the back. And good idea to check those rollers, make sure they're spinning well. Give it a couple turns. I'm just checking the seal in the back to make sure it's not flipped over anywhere. Just go all the way around one time. Let it slightly sit forward. And you can take your wheel, you're going to hook it back where it was. Alright, now to hook the belt back up, we're going to go through this guy. We're going to pull it towards us just a little bit and hook it over that motor. You can also, if it's a little bit tight on you, you can just hook it there and then just roll the motor until it falls into place. Alright, now we're going to hook the front back up. Again, we got the 2 square holes and 2 hooks. I like to do the left side or the right side first. Give it a little turn, make sure it's on the front seal and the back seal real nice. Go ahead and hook your lid switch, that wire right here, back up now so you don't accidentally miss it. If you forget to hook that up, you're going to be frustrated later because you're going to turn it on and it just will not come on because it will think the door is open. Alright, put these 2 screws back in. Alright, while you're putting these in, be very careful. If you drop them, you'll have to take this back off to get back to them. I like to tighten them a little bit by hand to start with. Alright, we're going to flip this down. Give it a little push. A little push. And then we're ready to put the first thing we started with, the 2 Phillips head screws, back into place. Alright, and that's it guys. Please like, please subscribe, and I have an entire video list on repairs to do and how to maintain this machine. Check out that playlist down below, and I'll also put links to them in the description. Also, any tools, any parts, use my links in the description, really helps the channel. But we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching guys, and please like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. Also, if you're looking for that video I was talking about where you can find the exact right part for a great price, it's the one on the left of the screen, and the one on the right of the screen is a playlist of every repair video I've ever done for this appliance. Thanks for watching guys, we'll see y'all next time.